wrestling fans.
That's right, listen up. This is Strong Honor, where we talk about New Japan Pro Wrestling and Ring of Honor. Big week this week. It was the Best of the Super Juniors finals. We'll talk about the everything that happened in the tournament since we left you last week here on the show. Wrap up the Super Juniors in a nice bow. We'll do a preview and maybe some predictions for Dominion coming up this weekend on Saturday. Big show on Saturday. A very big show. And then we'll talk a little Ring of Honor, some being the Elite, and then we'll get the hell out of here. I played a weird soundbite right off the bat.
I got a fever, and the only prescription is more cowbell.
I don't know why. For some reason, I have that here on the Strong Honor page.
Because you got a fever.
And I don't know why. And we were trying to figure out when there was a cowbell involved in New Japan and why we needed the famous soundbite from Saturday Night Live.
Refresh our memories.
So if you've been listening since the beginning and you can remember why we needed the cowbell soundbite, get at us, I guess. On all the social media platforms. If you're new to the show, thanks for checking it out. Make sure you rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes or Apple Podcasts or whatever you fucking call it, or wherever you get your podcast. And try to spread the word. We're trying to get the word out about this show, talking New Japan over here and Ring of Honor. It's a good combo to keep to talk about those two subjects together because of the Bullet Club crossover and everything that goes on and being the Elite. And it's just kind of fun to tie those two brands in. And then from time to time we'll talk a little Rev Pro on here as well as it ties into what's going on in New Japan, of course. But
hell yeah, brother!
Today we're going to talk. I don't know why that happened, but it just did.
Good evening, gentlemen. My botch.
But anyway, Best of the Super Juniors. We had the finals. Spoiler alert. We're going to be spoiling the finals and the matches all over. I was doing really good because I was a couple of days behind on watching Best of Super Juniors. I finally finished today, and I got spoiled by YouTube or New Japan's own YouTube page because my dumbass went to go look at post-match promos from like a couple of nights before the finals, and of course the first thing on their YouTube page is Hiromu celebrating Best of Super Juniors victory, and I'm like, oh, fucking great. So
I got so fucking lucky with that. I got to watch that live on my way to work.
Nice. Just briefly here before we get into all of what happened the past week or so in Best of Super Juniors, really, I really recommend the last two nights. Obviously, the finals are going to be the main event is just going to be the one finals match and then a bunch of tag matches to kind of build up a little bit to Dominion, but nothing too much building up to Dominion on that show. But then the night before from the third, I really recommend 8 matches. They're all the final A and B block matches going into the finals. So you got some really good matches on that card, and we'll get into those a little bit here as well. First, let's talk about my predictions. Not that anybody cares, but just in case people are following along.
We don't need to do this.
I called it. Big balloons falling down.
Taco.
We got you streamers.
Well, no, but that's the thing is my predictions, my actual match predictions were not very good. For the B block, I predicted 12 correct matches. For the A, it was only 13. We do the gimmick where we give ourselves bonus points, 5 bonus points if you match the final score for each wrestler correctly, and 10 points if you predict the block winners correctly, and another 10 points if you predict the final winner correctly. Right. I had more bonus points in both blocks than I did match wins. So maybe,
I haven't even tallied mine up.
Right.
Ishimori pretty much scored me most of my points.
Yeah, me too. I got 10 bonus points for him winning the block, but not winning the final.
See, I played it fucking safe. I went the Ospreay and fucking Kushida route, so I'm like, I'm happy it wasn't though. I really am.
Yeah. So either way, it was a good tournament. I enjoyed it. It's fun to follow along with predictions because you can be like, okay, I'm kind of rooting for this guy here, even though you might storyline wise be rooting for somebody else.
It's fun when you call the upsets too, the surprises. Like, oh fuck yeah!
I got none of those, except like in the beginning, like I predicted Ishimori to defeat Ospreay on night 1. That was one of my big victories, which was pretty predictable. Actually, because they did the angle at Sakura Genesis right before the Best of Super Juniors.
Even then, I went against that. I still went Ospreay that round.
Right.
Well, and they kind of turned our heads when he won against Ospreay, but didn't he have like a loss or two right after that?
Ishimori, let's look at Ishimori. He lost to, I gotta look at the results, not the predictions here. He lost to Yoshinobu Kanemaru with some skullduggery, of course, and then he lost to Flip Gordon. So those were his only 2 losses in the tournament. So, and I don't recall if the Kanemaru and Flip were earlier on. I think they were, because the middle of this tournament was kind of a blur for me because, again, it was Kanemaru with the whiskey and the skullduggery, Desperado doing some of the same stuff.
Sounds like a Sunday night.
Bushi doing the mist gimmicks in there, the ref bumps. Last week I talked about that very different Kushida match, where it was a very mat-based style match, which was kind of refreshing in the middle of the tournament to have something that was so different. But yeah, a lot of those shows in the middle of the tournament, the single cam shows as they're referred to, the video on demand shows, a lot of skippable stuff there. Right. But the opening couple of nights were really good. There's a couple of cool things in the middle there, and then of course the last couple of nights. So. Yeah, my prediction, I did good with Ishimori, but not so good with Hiromu winning the other block. But it was a nice surprise.
Fuck yeah,
with Hiromu not only winning but then going all the way. So we'll get into all of that here as we kind of run through the last week or so. As I take a swigger here.
A swigger.
Maybe I'll edit that out because that could be
could be construed.
Could be
different.
My botch.
Yeah, could go the wrong way.
So
we left you off night 9 on the 29th last week. That was an A block show. So on the 30th, of course, that was a B block show. Oh, well, let's get this thing going here.
B block.
Where were you, Joe?
Sorry.
Marty Scurll defeated Dragon Lee. This one started a little slow, but there was a good finish to the match in here. Scurll works over Lee the first half of the match, gets the heat, but Marty is kind of too over to be the heel, even though he acts like the villain all the time. I thought Dragon Lee's lack of selling in this match didn't really connect. It kind of, again, middle of the tournament, what are you going to do? It was one of these matches. Good back and forth and near falls late, though. Lee goes for a double stomp out of the corner, the old Del Rio gimmick where the guy is hanging in the Tree of Woe and also kind of holding himself up. That's one of Dragon Lee's finishers. Although I feel like in this tournament and overall, these opponents of Dragon Lee who have to take that move have done better than like back in like WWE days of Del Rio when the guy would be painfully, awkwardly holding himself there for minutes upon minutes as Del Rio took his sweet time to climb to the top rope.
And he was a bigger guy, too.
And he'd get up on the top rope and he'd whistle and spin his arm around and play to the crowd for a few minutes before hitting the double stop. Whereas Dragon Lee, there's a little bit more of a sense of urgency there, which is nice. So that helps out. But Scurll gets the win with a reverse superplex and the crossface chicken wing there. Then Taguchi versus Sho. This was a pretty good little match here in the middle of the tournament here. Comedy stuff early in the match. Taguchi avoids. Sho is shooting fake bow and arrows at him because his I forget what his finisher is called, but it's the something arrow or whatever. So he constantly shoots fake arrows. Taguchi is dodging the fake arrows. And it's kind of a funny spot at the beginning of the match. Sho gets the heat on Taguchi. Taguchi comes back with huge dives, flipping and going crazy all over the place. He gets the ankle lock, hits the Dodon for a near fall. Then it's a big exploder German, and that leads to the finish with Taguchi getting the win over Sho. He needed a big win there. He only had one win at that point. Sho had 2 for 4 points, and so Taguchi, again, this was the story of the middle of this tournament too. Everybody who needed to get a win got a win. Yep. Everybody who was building momentum kind of lost some momentum. So that was kind of the story of the entire tournament. And I think the idea was everybody is very competitive in this year's Best of Super Juniors, so nobody's going to really run away with it. It's going to be close till the end. And that kind of worked a little bit too, but I thought last year's Best of Super Juniors overall was better. I feel like there were just better matches mixed in throughout, even the stuff kind of in the middle. And there was a little bit better story, too, with like guys kind of running away with it. Remember, Jushin Thunder Liger, it was his last Best of Super Juniors last year, and he was losing all of his matches. So guys were getting wins facing Jushin Thunder Liger, getting extra momentum going forward. So, but I did like the story that they told with Tiger Mask, where he had, 3 wins like right away in the tournament. So he had a little streak, 6 points like right away. How far is Tiger Mask going to go? And that's all he ever got was 6 points.
6 points.
Back to the 30th, Hiromu took on Chris Sabin, both guys with 4 points. So Hiromu getting a little bit of momentum here with getting the win, getting up to 6 points. He won with the triangle. So that was this is Hiromu's new finishing move that he's been using, and getting into it really cool. Guys are jumping, going for power bombs and shit like that, and he's getting these guys in the triangle and stuff like that. So I really like what Hiromu's been doing with the triangle. He dominates most of the match. Sabin gets some late momentum, but you never really believe in Sabin in this match. Hiromu pretty much wins it dominantly. Just a plain old 2-star match. Nothing to talk. Not much to talk about there. Then another 2 wins versus 2 wins. El Desperado versus Kushida. So again, both guys with 4 points. Kushida getting the win here, building some momentum. I thought this was pretty good too. Just a little above 3 stars, 3 1/4 or whatever. Early brawling outside. This is Desperado and Suzuki Guns MO here. Desperado puts Kushida. I thought this was really unique actually. Desperado goes underneath the ring and finds this 4-wheel cart, puts Kushida's carcass on this cart.
I did see this.
And just runs this cart into this mountain of chairs that people were sitting on. And, the young boys shoo everybody out of the way, and he shoves Kushida into this crowd of chairs on
people
this cart.
People were making many, hi, my name is Kushida, and welcome to Jackass.
Right, yes, exactly. Desperado ends up pulling up some floor mats outside, which I thought might pay off later in the match, but they never did. So I wonder if they just skipped a spot or forgot something, or somebody decided, I don't want to take that bump on the floor.
Not tonight.
Kushida.
Sometimes you just need a tease. Just a little tease.
I think what it could have been, it might have just been a setup for the next spot. So Desperado pulls up the floor mats, and then he goes and finds Kushida up on the top rope. But then Kushida grabs his arm, Desperado's arm, and runs it into the top turnbuckle, and it leads to Kushida going into work on Desperado's arm. There's a ref bump in here. Desperado ends up tapping out to the hoverboard lock, some chair skullduggery. Kushida runs Desperado into the exposed turnbuckle at one point, and then hits a Hurricane Rana for a near fall, and it was Kushida getting the win with the Back to the Future here in this match, continuing, like I said, to build some momentum. So we move on to the 31st, Night 11. This is back in the A block.
A block.
Flip Gordon with 6 points versus Bushi with only 4 points. So, Bushi needing a win. Middle of the tournament. Bushi gets the win with the MX, of course. Taiji Ishimori with 6 points, taking on ACH, who only had 2 wins. ACH, he was really good the entire tournament. I loved it. He was just chopping the shit out of people. Not as athletic as he's been in the past, but more serious. I've been digging his backstage promos. He's right on the edge of serious and goofy in his backstage post-match promos or whatever, which has been kind of cool. And then he's always sending a shout-out to his boy Kingston back in AAW or whatever. I'm not sure exactly what that means. Maybe Kingston taught him Eddie Kingston taught him how to chop really fucking hard, because he's been doing that the entire tournament.
Inform us.
I've been getting a kick out of ACH, they went against the tradition here in the tournament, and Taiji Ishimori got the win here, getting himself up to 8 points. He got the win with the glorious DDT in this match. Let's see. Tiger Mask versus Will Ospreay, both with 6 points here. So whoever wins this is obviously building some momentum into the finals. Again, I thought Tiger Mask did really well. I thought this was a pretty good match. 3.5 stars. Ospreay getting the win here with with the Stormbreaker. Good early exchanges. Tiger Mask hits a early tombstone pile driver out of nowhere, like early in the match. So that was like, okay, some shit's going down here. Tiger Mask is hitting tombstones right off the bat. Ospreay fights back. Tiger Mask always goes back to Ospreay's neck. They do a cool double kick, double down spot after a really good sequence in here. Again, all of Ospreay's like sequences where they're just going back and forth in these matches have been really, really good. Ospreay counters a tombstone pile driver into a Stormbreaker, flips over onto his shoulder, flips around on the other shoulder, and hooks his arms into the Stormbreaker. Now, did you follow that at all? Because that was my notes.
This into that and that into this, but this
but
and
basically, Tiger Mask late in the match goes for another tombstone pile driver.
Yeah.
Ospreay does the gimmick where where you lift the guy up for the tombstone, but then you keep going back, and then the guy that's about to take this tombstone lands on his feet. Suddenly, you got Tiger Mask now in the tombstone pile driver position. Then he flips him up onto his shoulder. So Tiger Mask is now on Ospreay's shoulder, belly down. Flips him over so he's now belly up, then does the Stormbreaker, which is a spinning, twisting fucking neck breaker off of his shoulder. So it was just an amazing little sequence and a really cool finish.
Did you watch
to a fun
with
match.
English commentary?
Well, this one was just a middle of the pack match with
I'm just wondering who it is with who was doing it with Kevin Kelly.
Well,
the finale?
On the final night, it was Chase Owens, and and the semifinal, the A and B block final night, it was no, I'm sorry,
Sabin was on the final night.
You're right, yeah, Sabin was the final night. It was Chase Owens was the A and B block finals.
I tuned in with a fucking naked Chris Jericho on my screen. And then that progressed out, and then like listening to the commentators, I'm like, is that Daniel Bryan?
I just found whoever it was on the final night just really annoying.
I didn't think Sabin was that bad, but I liked on the A and B from the show from the third with Chase Owens on there. He was good. He was like bringing out kind of some Bobby Heenan style, quips or whatever for some of the matches. I mean, he wasn't as good as Bobby Heenan, of course, but he brought some nice humor and some fun analysis to the color position. I thought
I did like Sabin. He was able to translate some stuff too for
Well, actually, they had the Django guy there doing translations. They've got a guy like full time or anytime they're doing English commentary now. They got a guy named Django who does the Japanese translations now. So that you might have been getting him because he doesn't have much of an interesting voice. Kind of sounds like Chris Sabin.
Say they're both very. Their voices.
Yep. Okay, so where were we? Night 31, the A block. The main event from that night was Yo versus Yoshinobu Kanemaru. Both guys with 4 points. Again, somebody's got to win, got to lose here. This was a good, hard-worked match, but I just, it was Yo and Kanemaru. I just wasn't that into it. But they performed well in the main event here.
They just didn't drink whiskey and have a party?
Whiskey came into play late.
Big dance party.
Yo kicked out of the diving DDT and a big brain buster. The diving DDT is Kanemaru's finisher, so Yo kicked out of this finisher and got the win with his patented leverage roll-up thing that he's been doing. So, and to be honest, and we'll get into it as we go here, that final night and even in the tag match from the finals, I liked Yo's performances in there a little more than I have in the mid part of this tournament here. So Yo's growing on me a little bit more than I've been putting on lately here. So moving on to night 12 from the second. This was the B block, of course. B block. Chris Sabin takes on El Desperado. Both guys with 4 points. Sabin needs the win. He gets the win. He dominates the second half of the match and gets the win here. And the possibility here, because he got the win over the current IWGP Junior Tag Champion here, could Sabin and Shelley bring the Motor City Machine Guns back to New Japan and challenge for the junior titles at some point? With Sabin getting the win there.
I'm always interested.
Taguchi versus Marty Scurll. Fun comedy stuff here. Scurll with 6 points, Taguchi with 4. Taguchi mocks the bird stuff that Skrull does, but instead of flapping his arms, he does like the head bob thing.
Okay.
So that was really funny. He attempts Marty's signature offense in the match, but Skrull gets upset and scowls him for attempting his offense. Skrull avoids early butt moves and works over Taguchi for the
Early
heat.
butt moves.
Taguchi comes back with butt moves and big dives. That's kind of been the story for Taguchi here. It's like he gets beat down, makes his big comeback, but it's impressive. Like he's flying around, doing planches, doing flip dives, ass, crazy flying funky weapons, butt moves as I call them. And so, yeah, he counters the just kidding spot with a funky. I thought that was a really cool spot. So Marty, he's known for he goes for the fake out super kick, yells just kidding, and then kicks a guy in the knee. He does it in every fucking match.
Yep.
So he does the fake out, and then Taguchi just jumps up with a funky weapon to the face. So the timing was brilliant. It was hilarious, and it was an effective move here. But
of course, these two would put on an interesting match.
Yes,
oh, yeah,
it was fun. Skrull gets the win with a roll up after escaping the ankle lock. So desperate stuff there at the end with Taguchi getting the ankle lock on Skrull, and Skrull getting some momentum, getting up to 8 points here. Then Sho versus Hiromu Takahashi. Sho needed a win here. He only has 2 wins, only 4 points. Hiromu had 6 points here. So now we're at the stage. We're getting close to the finals. Guys finally building some momentum. Hiromu gets the win with the triangle. Pretty good match here. 3.5 stars. Frantic early pace, but very good. Sho ends up working the arm here. Hiromu does a powerbomb on the floor and in the ring. Good fighting spirit Germans and 1 counts. Well, actually, I thought in this match they do you know what I'm talking about, where they hit a German, they jump up right away, hit another German, and then they go in for a cover, boom, 1 count. They do another cover, boom, 1 count. And usually when they do that kind of spot, it's later on in the match. They've really built up to it well. Here in this match, I thought not so much. I thought it felt they went to that spot a little too early, and so that kind of took away from it for me there. Sho counters a Hurricane Rana and attempts. Catches him and hits a nice deadlift power bomb. A couple of them here in the match, but it was Hiromu that got the win with the triangle after finally hitting the Hurricane Rana. So the other story of the match here is Hiromu is constantly going for a Hurricane Rana several points in the match, and Sho is always catching him and power bombing him. That was what that weird note was there.
Are you a Hurricane Rana or Hurricane Rana?
Hurricane, and then finally he Hurricane, and then gets him in the triangle right after and gets the win there. Then the main event from the second on night 12 in the B block, Kushida versus Dragon Lee. Both guys with 6 points, so Kushida getting the win here with the Back to the Future, getting up to 8 points.
Should have been a good match.
Yeah, to me, I thought it could have been better. Lee, again, takes me out of it with his lack of selling. It's a lucha thing, but I thought it could have been better. I only gave it 2 3/4 stars. I think I'm going to get heat for that. I think there's a lot of people that are big fans of Dragon Lee that probably liked this match a little bit more than me. Everyone counters the baseball punch and escapes the hoverboard lock. I noted that now because I enjoy this evolution of Kushida, where he had his signature spots that he'd been doing for a couple of years now, where he'd hit the one punch in the match to get some momentum late in the match, the baseball punch, and now everybody sees it coming, everybody blocks it, and everybody is able to counter and move on. Same thing with the hoverboard lock. It used to be his submission finisher. He used to submit guys all the time with the hoverboard lock, but now people see it coming, they're prepared for it, and everybody escapes the hoverboard lock. Now they get to the ropes, they counter it, they figure out a way to get out of it. So I like the evolution of Kushida. It started last year, even when he introduced the new finisher, the Back to the Future, and then doing the arm bar off the top ropes and stuff like that. And so I like the story of evolving offense. Same thing with like a Will Ospreay. He's been doing the Robinson special, the spinning kick, and then hitting the Os Cutter, and that's been his finisher for the longest time. Now, just before this tournament, he started using the Stormbreaker. So now, in this tournament, everybody's getting out of the Os Cutter or countering it. I don't think anybody's kicked out of the Os Cutter yet, but everybody's been able to counter it. They see it coming, mostly because he hits if he hits the Robinson special, he instantly calls for and screams Os Cutter, and then goes to hit the move, and then of course they counter it because he just called his shot. So there's that.
Blew his wad, man.
So, but I like those.
That happened to the best of us.
I like those little stories that they tell along the way of guys evolving their moveset. So yeah. So now moving on to the final night of block action, both the A block and the B block. Eight matches from Korakuen Hall. They did 2 nights in a row here at Korakuen Hall. They did the A and B block finals, so 8 matches, both blocks. And then the final night is usually from a different arena. Kevin Kelly talked about this on the English commentary, too. It's usually a bigger arena, but they're renovating that arena, getting it, what did he say, earthquake-proof, and preparations for the 2020 Olympics. So they're in Korakuen Hall. It's a packed house. People were lined up since 5 in the morning to get standing room-only tickets. So
they're just filling the walls with Jell-O.
But yeah, hot crowds both nights at Korakuen Hall here.
Hell yeah, such a fucking intimate environment for, the finals.
Yeah, I mean, I only watched the one match from the finals, but even just that, the energy was just different. Like Korakuen Hall, and again, you've said that name many times, and I'm starting to recognize these areas. Like the thing I like about Korakuen Hall is like it's almost like you can't even see the crowd behind the ring sometimes when they go to that hard cam shot. They're not even moving. They're like paying their respect. They're watching the match. Like it's a whole different environment.
The thing is, but the thing that I like too about Korakuen Hall is they're a more vocal Japanese crowd. We watch these single cam
hype spots and stuff.
Well, you watch the single cam shows from the middle of this tournament, and the crowds are dead silent. But like you go to these Korakuen Hall shows, and it's the end of the tournament, and everybody's excited for what's going on, and the crowds are into all of the matches. So they sit there and they don't get off their feet, but they're loud. So I really
it's not Lucha Underground, bang, slam, knock, get the frying pans out, bang them together.
No, it's more Japanese tradition to just sit and watch and be respectful. That's just how it is.
I just want to see Pentagon and New Japan now.
Don't tease me like that.
Right?
So the final night, ACH versus Tiger Mask. They told a really nice story here with ACH kind of being... Tiger Mask being like one of ACH's big influences. Tiger Mask is one of ACH's heroes or whatever. So he comes out, ACH does, with a Tiger Mask on as a sign of respect. And just a cool thing. And what was basically just an opening nothing match. Nobody here. I mean, Tiger Mask had a chance to get to 8 points here, but ACH did get the win and got himself to 6 points. So nothing to... he had no chance to win at this point, obviously, but it was nice for him to get a win. He chopped the shit out of Tiger Mask. Tiger Mask's chest was all beat up.
So have you heard anything? I only heard it from Kevin Kelly or whatever, but the stop the chop movement.
I haven't heard anything about it, but I'm sure it's like a locker room thing that's probably going around on some of your softer indie shows, or maybe some of your veterans like a Tiger Mask is like, God damn it, I've been doing this my whole career. Why do you got to chop the shit out of me? Save that shit for the young lions. I'm sure.
Yeah, that's the first time I'd ever heard anything about it. Like even going through Twitter or anything. I'm like, there's nothing going on here.
Well, I mean, I could see it being a movement with like guys on the indie scene like Walter who are going around just making hamburger meat out of guys. Like that's his whole gimmick. Is he just chops the shit into your chops the shit out of you.
Bryan's chest too. The Rumble.
Yeah. It's like
it's becoming slightly a thing.
It is a thing. Like you see it on Raw now. Guys are just chopping the shit out of each other, and the chest is red. You see
the movement. I can see the old guys hanging out, and everybody's just like, "Oh, fuck those old guys."
It is funny because like the indie style for the longest time has been it's it's all flops and dives and bullshit, and nothing's real, and everything looks shitty and fake, and you're just slapping your leg and all of that. So they answer by just chopping the shit out of each other now, and everybody's getting purple chests, and you're killing each other now. You're just gonna hurt everybody now. So you can't win. Everybody complains. It's all bullshit.
I love
botch.
This the big old handprint though. Just the one handprint. Oh, it's so satisfying.
Yeah, that's pretty cool too. I don't mind it. I mean, it's entertaining.
They tear it up.
So
they enter that ring for a reason.
I'm glad I'm glad I'm not a wrestler. I'll say that much. So because I wouldn't want to be doing those spots. But hey, if you're fine with it, more power to you.
Tear it up.
Yoshinobu Kanemaru versus Bushi. This one, junior tag implications or whatever, with Kanemaru being a current champion, Bushi and Hiromu challenging for the titles all spring, basically. Kanemaru gets the win, and that was a story throughout the tournament too. Kanemaru and Desperado beating, I believe, Hiromu and Bushi. Let me check where's my results page? I got rid of it already.
Shuffle.
Let's see here. Let's take a look. Let's look, since we got it here. Bushi lost to... Well, that's when I was just saying. Bushi lost to Kanemaru. And did Hiromu actually lose to El Desperado? That was the...
that was awesome fucking, night 3?
That's that crazy one.
Yeah. Hiromu did lose to El Desperado.
Fucking dragging him down the stairs.
Yeah. So both of those guys out of the junior tag picture. Of course, Hiromu moving on to bigger and better things right now.
Weird.
So this is just more of that story here. There's a ref bump, of course. Bushi blocks the whiskey here and hits the mist. It gets a near fall. Then he goes for the MX, but the Kanemaru pulls the referee into the way, spits him with the whiskey, hits the diving DDT, which I have. Thank you, Kevin Kelly. I now know the name of the diving DDT. He calls it Deep Impact.
Ooh.
So,
didn't Bushi get a big win against someone?
Bushi got...
Was it Ospreay or Ishimori? He got a big win over.
Yeah, he beat Ospreay. That was Bushi's big upset.
So then there's a big title shot for him right there too.
Yeah. Ospreay lost 2 matches, one to Ishimori and one to Bushi. So with Clinton Dix, with Hiromu winning, we've also got 2 other potential challengers for the IWGP Junior title in Ishimori and Bushi. So we got a big summer to look forward to.
All right.
Those matches. Although I could see them saving Bushi for like something past the G1.
I was gonna say, it's a nothing title feud, but he's got that win though.
Whatever that tour is after the G1 in September, the Destruction shows that are not usually the greatest. It's not the greatest tour because it's coming off the G1. Everybody's taking it easy. That sounds like a Bushi title challenge spot there.
Sometimes New Japan comes back years later to wrap something up.
That's true. We're coming back a year.
Do we need to actually come back to it?
Right, with Dominion around the corner, we're coming back to the Okada and Kenny Omega match from a year ago, and so they tend to.
Let's say Hiromu does or doesn't win. We have Mysterio around the corner still.
Right, yeah, all of that. So plenty of stuff going on here. Chris Sabin took on El Desperado. Oh no, I already talked about that. Where the hell am I in here? What am I doing?
Fucking retro rewind.
Completely lost my spot here. Okay. Taguchi versus Chris Sabin here, the final night. That was Taguchi getting a bit of a surprise win there over Chris Sabin.
Good.
Wins with the ankle lock after the Dodon, gets a near fall with the Dodon. And what was most interesting here was Sabin's post-match interview. He talked about the history of these two. Talked about when the Motor City Machine Guns have had a history in New Japan versus Apollo 55, which was Taguchi and Fergal Devitt, a.k.a. Prince
Prince Devitt, a.k.a. Finn Balor.
Finn Balor, yes. I guess those two teams had a series of really, really good matches that Chris Sabin is really proud of, actually. Yeah. And so he talked about that in his post-match stuff. So it might be some stuff to go back and look at, because it's stuff that was on, I believe it was around 2010. So that was way before I was watching New Japan stuff. So might be something to go back and check out.
Dust off the old keyboard.
Exactly. Then El Desperado versus Dragon Lee. This was a knockdown, drag-out, son of a bitch fight here. Desperado goes after Dragon Lee's mask. Dragon Lee completely obliterates El Desperado's mask. It's literally just hanging around his neck.
Oh, no.
So Desperado's covering up his face with his hair. He ends up winning the fucking match with a low blow. And so the whole thing that they're teasing here.
Wait, El Desperado?
Desperado.
Wow.
Desperado got the win.
That's awesome.
Without a mask, basically. After the match, he steals Dragon Lee's mask. So post-match stuff, Dragon Lee's talking about, you want to have a mask versus mask match? We'll do it anytime, anywhere. So that's a thing that they're building up to. That might be that could.
Yeah,
be,
but with how much you say he obliterated El Desperado's mask, I mean, like.
Well, what was funny is as soon as Desperado gets the win, he crawls under the ring and goes and finds another mask. So he had a spare stowed underneath the ring, but he wrestles most of the match, or at least the second half, with a completely torn mask.
So I have a feeling he's going to lose.
Was he wrestling the with the face paint on, or was it the full mask?
Well, he does have some kind of face paint on under his mask.
Sometimes it'll be a full mask, and sometimes it'll be like the Seo Miedo, fucking what's his face? Pentagon's where he paints his mask.
Well, he definitely has the mask he's been wearing has been the full mask. It covers his mouth. It doesn't cover his eyes, but he usually paints his eyes black or has makeup on underneath the mask. But he did such a great job of covering himself up with his own hair and getting his arms in the way. Also, props to the director for cutting to the
right shot.
They were going out of their way to not show his face. So they did a really good job with that. And then, of course, as soon as he rips off Dragon Lee's mask after the match, all the young boys dive in the ring and take off their shirts and cover up.
That's awesome.
Cover up Dragon Lee's face.
It's always been one of my favorite things. Again, learning about the luchador stuff in the WCW days. It was just that rich history in that. So and how much that can mean to somebody, a wrestler, whether it be a family thing, just the name and the mask transferred down, from uncle to dad to whatever. It's just amazing. I like that one.
And then we had the big announcement that Hanma is going to be coming back.
Hanmania, baby.
Yeah, he's coming back June 23rd and in Yamagata, and sounds like he's going to be tag teaming with Makabe. Togi Makabe has been, quote, saving his spot for him to return.
Let those big boys run roughshod on everybody.
It'll be a lot of fun to see Hanma come back and hit that Kokeshi headbutt, and it'll be a lot of fun. Then we had the second half of this show, the final night of A and B block play. Again, really good stuff here. Flip Gordon versus Will Ospreay. This was really good. Flip had to get a win.
Did they ever touch the ground at all?
They did. It was a good back and forth deal. The only way for Flip to win here, well, he would have to beat Ospreay, and then Ishimori would have to lose his match. So Flip would have to win and pray for an Ishimori loss. Same thing with Ospreay. If he won, obviously Ishimori would have to lose his match because Ishimori beat Ospreay opening night of the tournament. Flip earns Ospreay doesn't shake Flip's hand early in the match, and then they do this crazy sequences where Flip is landing on his feet. They're battling to do dives outside of the ring, moving out of the way. Guys are landing on their feet. Insane, crazy Ricochet-like stuff.
Yeah, I'm wondering if these aren't pre-taped, are they? They're more.
This one was live.
So yeah, I mean, I want to know if that's just a reaction to NXT that both of them are just fuck you, we can do it too.
Right, it could have been because I definitely had those same kind of vibes or whatever coming out of that.
Ricochet's was sexier though,
so it was. But
still hard from that.
So after all the after all the flipping and landing on the feet, that earns a little bit of Ospreay's respect. Great strikes, chops, kicks, sequences in this match. Just good stuff. They do let's see. Flip does his double springboard dive to the floor. They do this after the double springboard dive to the floor. They get back in the ring. They do the standing 10 count gimmick that I've been. Nice. Somebody must be listening. There's not a lot of listeners to this show, but I mean, I've been griping about this.
It only takes one.
The standing 10 count for 2 weeks. They worked that gimmick here. They worked it in a couple other matches here. Maybe I'm just not paying that close of attention, and maybe they do actually work the standing 10 count in the more.
You know what they don't do anymore?
In the bigger matches? I don't know.
They don't do superplexes.
Nah, that's bullshit. That's a callback to one of Joe's old. One time he brought up. I believe it was on Best Pro. He's like, man, that was a really good. I don't remember what match it was. I think it was something from Raw, and he was like, man, that was a really great superplex. You don't see that many superplexes anymore. I'm like, dude, they're in like every other match. Pay attention. And then since then, it's literally like almost every match on Raw, there's a fucking superplex. So it's an old school inside kind of a joke or whatever. Where were we at here? So yeah,
it's a thing.
Flip versus Ospreay, standing 10 count. Ospreay goes for the super Os cutter. They have a top rope battle. Flip does a springboard into an Os cutter. So Flip is going for a springboard as Ospreay is sitting on the top rope. Ospreay leaves his feet from the top rope and hits this fucking amazing looking Os cutter off the top.
Of course it looked amazing.
But that's not the finish. He hits the Stormbreaker right after that second rope Os cutter. So it was right after that he hits the Stormbreaker, gets the win, gets to 10 points. So Ospreay needs Ishimori to lose. Then it was time for Yo versus Taiji Ishimori. This is the final A block match. A block. So Ospreay is out there cheering on Yo because he wants Yo to beat Ishimori so Ospreay can go on to the finals. But it was Ishimori getting the win with the crossface after 3 close, very, very close near falls for Yo. And yeah, decent little match there. 3 stars. I forgot to mention I thought Flip Gordon versus Will Ospreay. I gave that 4.5, by the way. So really good stuff there. Then the last 2 B block matches: Show versus Marty Scurll. Scurll needs a win and a draw in the Hiromu and Kushida match to get the win here. Great strike and clothesline battle from these two. Show hits the shock arrow late in the match, but he goes for the shock arrow, but he can't hit it because Marty Scurll broke his fingers in a previous
it's
spot.
Called the shock arrow.
Yes, that's what it was. Again, thank you, Kevin Kelly. I've been wondering what some of these finishing maneuvers are called, and without the benefit of any commentary, I'm like, oh, what is that thing called? So I'll probably forget it in a week because I'm horrible with moves.
It'll be Clash of the Titans in a week.
It'll be the Clash of the Titans. So shock arrow, shock arrow, shock arrow. I'll never remember it.
All right.
But he goes for that, but he can't hit it because of the broken fingers. Scurll gets a late crossface chicken wing after some vicious elbows to the head, but Show escapes. But then he finally he escapes and then hits the shock arrow, and Show gets the win here. So
nice.
That's a big win for Show versus Marty Scurll here.
What did that give him in points?
Just got him up to 6. He'd only had 2 wins. Scurll had 8. So again, Scurll had a chance here if he got to 10 points. But or actually, no, he didn't because Scurll lost to Ospreay. No, that's the other block.
No, it was that guy.
Scurll did have a chance if he won, and then if Hiromu, Takahashi, and Kushida went to a draw, then Scurll would win. I just said that a minute ago, so got to pay attention to what I'm
that move
saying. The shock arrow Clash of the Titus. Then the main event from the
Shock of the Titus,
the B block finals here.
B block.
Kushida with 8 points. Hiromu Takahashi with 8 points. Lots of story between these two. Of course, when Hiromu came back from excursion last year, challenged Kushida at the Tokyo Dome and beat him for the IWGP Junior title. They had the rematch a couple of months later. Hiromu beat him in like less than 2 minutes. And then they had the redemption story of Kushida that they told in last year's Best of the Super Juniors, where Kushida regained the IWGP Junior title. And then here we go. Here we are a year later, and these two are meeting in the B Block Finals in another great match here. I thought I originally gave it 5. I reduced it to 4.5 because I just wasn't quite feeling 5, but it was a really good fucking match here. They started off the first 5 minutes of the match. They worked a collar and elbow tie-up.
Oh,
that was the first 5 minutes. Was those two just battling back and forth? Who's gonna get momentum out of this fucking collar and elbow tie-up? Again, this is kind of one of those. I feel like Kushida does this stuff to kind of challenge himself and be like, "What can I do that's different that'll stand out?" And it'll be like, okay, he had the match with Sho where they didn't do barely anything off the fucking ropes. And that was just in the middle of the tournament. Stood out because it was just so different from everything else going on in the tournament. And then here, working a 5-minute collar and elbow tie-up.
Do it up.
Again, I enjoyed it because it was just different. It's something you don't see. And I was into it the whole time. All of a sudden, the announcer guy is 5 minutes past. 5 minutes past. I'm like, oh, Jesus, they're still working this fucking collar and elbow. So I just thought it was cool. But I could see how this might turn some fans off. Again, after me raving about how I thought the Kushida Sho match was great last week, I heard a lot of criticism. People thought it was boring and it just wasn't their thing. I'm not into
anything that's groundwork. You look at the MMA world, they want the power knockouts, the slams, the hits. When it comes to like a ground game and someone's working each other, snooze fest. People cannot get into that. Same with the pro wrestling
they're
world.
Some of the best matches you watch. It's like chess, in a sense. Like just watching two guys go at it like wrestling skill only.
And the art of the sell plays big into that too, because it's like, how hurt is this guy? Is he going to survive? Is he going to escape? How is he going to escape? That kind of thing.
Look over Zack Sabre Jr. got in that tournament. Just doing the groundwork and submissions. I love it. I want to see more of that. I'm glad New Japan has these guys going out there and not doing the same cookie cutter formula week in week out. No, it's awesome. Even in a big tournament setting where it's just like, fuck, this is the final match, and he's still doing shit like this. It's awesome. It's great.
Has Jonathan Gresham ever done any New Japan work?
No, not as far as I'm aware of, and nothing since I've started watching. So
again, he would be the kind of guy I could see just a wild card thrown in to just kind of tear people down. And
yeah, I'm kind of surprised Ring of Honor didn't bring him over this year for Honor Rising earlier. Maybe there'll be something next year because he's a guy. Again,
hey, we're talking about it now. That's what needs to happen to get him over
Yeah,
there.
and he's a guy who would fit right into this Super Juniors tournament.
Sure.
He's a smaller guy, shorter guy, or whatever. Again, very technical. People argue who's better technically. Is it Jonathan Gresham or Zack Sabre? So it's something that's out there, and people that talk, indie wrestling and stuff like that.
Like him or ACH too, or even Hiromu.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, he's a guy I definitely like to see over in New Japan. So they worked the 5-minute collar and elbow, getting back to Kushida and Hiromu. Kushida settles into and works the arm after hitting a big flip dive. Great back and forth exchanges again. It's the theme of the tournament here. Cool. The crowd ends up being really behind Hiromu here. Hiromu just hugely over in Korakuen Hall.
Because he works his ass off.
A late diving headbutt, late diving hoverboard lock off the second rope. Hiromu counters the baseball punch into a triangle. He gets a rope break, then hits a butterfly pile driver.
Ooh.
Hiromu does, then gets him in another triangle, and that makes Kushida tap out.
Damn.
So Kushida does not tap out often, so huge stuff here for Hiromu going into the finals.
That's a reaction I need to check out.
And then, again, I debated between 4.5, 5 stars of a great fucking match.
Just watch it.
Those two have had just amazing matches.
The ending tournament matches, I've only did the last best of the Super Juniors, but the way they do it, like they set up the stories and then build to these final matches, is amazing.
So then, speaking of finals and last matches, let's talk the actual finals from the 4th now. Let's just skip ahead to the what happened at the end of the show. Of course,
bury the lead.
The main event: Hiromu Takahashi versus Taiji Ishimori. Of course, a lot of people picked Ishimori to go on and win the whole thing. Here he is in the finals versus Hiromu. What a fucking match. I thought this was really good, too. I gave this just under 5, 4 3/4.
I'm with you on that.
I thought 100%. It was really good. They start off the match with the running drop kick in the stands again from Hiromu, just running the entire length of the Korakuen Hall.
Fucking kicks.
Yeah,
too.
he sent him good. There was like when I watched it, there was just like a perfect camera flash, like mid through the air from him. And
I need to see that photo.
You see the impact in his face. It's intense.
Well, and then he goes for the power bomb, and then Ishimori does the Hurricane Rana and sends him going all the way down the stairs.
Cement stairs.
Yeah. Intense cross faces from Taiji Ishimori in the match. Hiromu comes back, does a big flip roll up off of a top rope near fall, or does a flip roll up off the top rope for a near fall rather. Back to back reverse Ranas. They do the standing 10 count again here after the back to back reverse Ranas. Those were just brutal looking too, especially because Ishimori hits the first one, looks beautiful. Then Hiromu does the fighting spirit gimmick, stands up right away and goes to hit Ishimori with the reverse Rana, but Ishimori kind of loses his balance a little bit, and so it was a little botchy when they fucking do the backflip, but then the landing just looked so brutal because he was off balance, so it just kind of made the...
him hitting that sliding German...
Yes.
Fucking Hiromu. Oh,
hard.
my God. Like, he had to hit that perfect. Like, I think it was Kevin Kelly. He's like, there's no room for error in that move.
Yes. Well, and Hiromu's doing the sunset power bomb to the floor here in the match. They're busting out all the dangerous stuff here in the big spot.
I like that the commentator team, though, was even bringing up the standing 10 count, and the referee, he was saying that, Red Shoes is the best ref. He's going to let these guys fight all night if he has to. He's only counting, keep the match going. He's using the standing 10 count to get these guys going, so that was kind of a nice touch of them kind of standing, kind of crumbling at each other still just to get on their feet, get going again. So, it was a nice touch, especially with that commentating team, like, hey, point this out.
Yeah, I like them pointing that out, that he's just doing it to keep the action moving. Same thing with the action outside of the ring. Red Shoes isn't going to have a count out in a match with this kind of magnitude,
exactly.
But he's going to use that count to get the action back into the ring. So
best in the business, baby.
That was a nice touch. They do the nice seated strike battle. They battle all the way up to their feet. Taiji Ishimori hits a really ugly looking lariat where Hiromu lands on his head.
Oof.
And then he kicks out at 1. This was what I was talking about earlier, where they just build up to this crazy spot at the end of the match. They do the 1 count kick out after just hitting an ugly move. That was done really, really well. And then it was Hiromu getting the win with the time bomb here. And that was after they
struggling to get it too.
So they were he kept getting him into the triangle a couple of times, and he escaped a couple of different times. Hit that butterfly pile driver again. But then he gets the rope break out of the triangle, so he can't finish him off with the triangle, but then goes back to the time bomb. So I like that he'd been using the triangle, but then switches it up. Oh yeah, I have this in my arsenal as well.
Right.
Boom, hits that, takes him out. So I liked that. Of course, after the match, challenges Ospreay. Ospreay comes out and like, okay, motherfucker, I already beat you twice. I'll do it again. Whatever. I'm the best in the world. And then Hiromu was like, thank you, meow. So,
the styles in this match, I loved it because Ishimori, while he can speed it up when he needs to, he was really trying to ground Hiromu the whole time. And then Taco brought it up before, but Hiromu really taking on that Lucha Libre style. I saw it a ton in this match. Just everything he was doing, like, again, the outside, taking him outside into the stands, doing all that stuff, doing the flips, flipping down the stairs, like taking that bump, like, again, I'm with you. Like, this was an amazing match, and I'm glad I was able to at least watch the finals.
Yeah, Hiromu is you're right. It's a great combination of the Lucha and New Japan style because for me, a lot of times, like I can't get into some of the Dragon Lee matches for the reasons I was talking about earlier. But here with Hiromu, he's so good at selling and building that sympathy. And when it's time for him to go on offense or whatever, he's the speed is there, you know. The crispness with the way he hits his moves is very good. So he's a really great combination of those two styles. And then you brought it up too with Ishimori kind of grounding him. That was the only reason I didn't give this 5 stars, is it kind of dragged there, where Ishimori was just working over Hiromu, and it was kind of the slow part of the match. But I thought too, as I talk out of both sides of my mouth here, that the match kind of needed that too, because it was Hiromu selling and then making that comeback, and you know, so that was kind of, it felt like a necessary.
And he's the beefier one too, the thicker one.
Yeah. So
it's the fucking Terminator.
Yeah, really good stuff, really good finals, and man, Hiromu versus Ospreay in a couple of days here at Dominion.
Awesome.
Yep, that's going to be really good too. A couple other things from the show: Los Ingobernables beat ACH, Kushida, Taguchi, and Dragon Lee in an 8-man match. After the match, we had a nice video promo from Jericho.
This is where I started this show. Half naked in his hotel room,
drinking some vodka. Yeah, this was a little bit different than his Swearico promo, as he referred to himself as. I'm not going to be Swearico, even though he mixed in some fuck faces there towards the end. But this was Jericho kind of putting Naito over, saying, "You're the best star in Japan. I'm going to make you an even bigger star when you step in the ring with me. Yeah, I'm going to beat you. I'm the best in the world. I'm the GOAT. But just being in the ring with me is going to rub off on you, young New Japan wrestler who needs something from me, Jericho. I'm going to be the nice man and give it to you, fuckface." So
the greatest Intercontinental Champion to ever live.
Right. He wants to become the 10-time Intercontinental Champion, 9-time WWE, 1-time IWGP. Very fun stuff there from Jericho. I loved how Naito sold it by taking a nap in the middle of the ring during the promo, then getting up and saying, "Oh man, that was so long. Next time, just keep it shorter. Why do you have to go on and on and on? Let's just get to the point here already." And it's,
so perfect.
So he's like, "At Dominion, I'm just going to shut this guy's loud mouth up." So that was basically the gist of what Naito had to say there.
That'd be a fun one, I think.
Come on, Naito.
Yeah, and not a lot of other interesting stuff from this show. Okada and Ospreay teamed up over Chase Owens and Kota Ibushi. I thought Ospreay and Ibushi had a really awesome couple of exchanges in the match. Ospreay going on social media, kind of challenging Ibushi a little bit. So that's kind of
I did see a little bit of this one.
Yeah, a little bit. That's a really interesting story with Ibushi doing stuff on the heavyweight side of things, but really looking similar size-wise to Will Ospreay when those two were. It's almost like he could go either way here. So that'd be a really interesting matchup if Ibushi goes for the junior title at some point, or even going back to Okada being having another match against Okada would be really great as well. What else from the show? Not a lot else going on this show here. They did a preview for the Goto and Tai Chi match in a 6-man, as well as those guys teaming up with the junior champions. So that's pretty much.
Did Yoshihashi get his ass whooped on this show?
I'm sure he did. I wasn't paying that much attention to Yoshihashi getting. Well, yeah, I think Yoshihashi was out there in a match with Suzuki and the Suzuki Gun. So that was.
They speak the living dog piss out or something.
Basically, pretty much.
Awesome.
So let's get into some previews and predictions for Dominion here.
That's the best I could do. That
was a good tune, man.
Oh my god,
that's the new intro song.
That's the Dominion theme from now on. No, another sip here.
He's taking another sip, folks.
Is that
He's taking another sip
with the?
I guess this will be the theme for Dominion.
I got a fever, and the only prescription
is more Dominion. Okay,
Dominion.
So, opening match for Dominion is El Desperado and Yoshinobu Kanemaru defending against Roppongi 3K, Sho and Yo. Again, they've built up to this in the tournament. Sho and Yo beat both of those guys in singles matches.
Think they're gonna hug it out like I missed you so much.
I don't think they're gonna hug it out, but you know what? I did like how Sho and Yo had their own unique looks as far as their gear in the tournament. It made both of them stand out as, okay, well, this is something different from what they do in their tag team gear or whatever. So I kind of liked that. As far as predictions go, boy, it really feels like they've been building up Sho and Yo to regain those titles here. It feels like this would probably be the right time. Sho had a really good tournament. Yo had a pretty good one too, although I was a little bit more down on his middle of the tournament, but I thought Sho hanging in there with Kushida, getting the big win versus Marty Scurll at the end of the tournament was a cool story. So, yeah, I think Sho and Yo might get the win here. I could go either way, though. What do you guys think?
I mean, I want them to stay on Kanemaru. But I mean, Roppongi, like you said, they've been building them up, and I think the wins just speak for themselves. I think they're going to take the titles.
Taco.
I'm on the Roppongi 3K side. I feel like every time they've been in a match, I'm always going for them. So
right on.
Let's keep it going.
Right on. Well, yeah, there was a time like right around Wrestle Kingdom where I was kind of. I wasn't that high on Roppongi 3K. They were still kind of early in their reintroduction or whatever. But now after seeing them in Best of Super Juniors,
yes,
it feels right.
It was good timing. Like I've been having a lot of fun with them, but yeah, I was super stoked to see them kind of get separate a little bit. And like you said, I'm glad they kind of got them found themselves a little bit. So it's gonna be fun to see what they can come out of this tag team now.
Then we have a special tag team match. David Finlay teaming up with Juice Robinson to take on Yoshihashi and Jay White. This is
that sounds exciting.
This is a bit of a preview match because Juice Robinson wants to challenge Jay White for the IWGP US title. That's a possible Cow Palace show coming up.
So
in early July. I don't have that on. Yeah, I do. It's on the 7th of July, the G1 special. So a little over a month away already. Man, it's early June. We're firing right into summer. The G1 is right around the corner. So that's
G1 what?
G1, a GI climax, I believe. How did
GI climax?
Yeah, the GI climax. Then Toru Yano and Tomohiro Ishii versus Zack Sabre Jr. and Minoru Suzuki.
Oh, this brutal!
This should be pretty interesting here. Yeah. So Zack Sabre back in New Japan. And the tag at Korakuen, they were kind of felt like they might be building to Ishii and Suzuki at some point here. But this is a nice little placeholder tag match or whatever to some stuff that might be coming in the future if these guys are going to be meeting up in the G1 or whatever.
Any reason to watch Minoru Suzuki and Zack Sabre team up?
Yeah, that's a good point too. And even Yano in the mix there, and Ishii biting motherfuckers now, like he was in the Korakuen Hall match from the Super Junior Finals. Izuka's in there biting him. He was biting Izuka back and all that kind of stuff. So. Then the fourth match is for the Never Openweight Championship, a 3-way match. The champion Goto defending against my boy Tai Chi and not my boy Michael Elgin. So 3-way action
it's
here.
It's actually Elgin.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm pulling for Tai Chi.
Right?
Goto's Never Openweight reign hasn't done much for me, although I do.
Again.
I do like that it's still kind of the hard-hitting fighting spirit title, the Never Openweight title, and Tai Chi does not bring any of that to the table. So in that regard, I'm hoping he doesn't get it. I'm definitely not rooting for Elgin in this situation, but I could see them going there. So I'm guessing this is just a retention by Hiroki Goto here. What do you guys think?
I'm going to pick Tai Chi just because you talk him up so much. You've been really enjoying him. I'm going Tai Chi on this one.
If Tai Chi wins, I hope he pins Elgin. But otherwise, Goto retains.
Yeah, I think Tai Chi pinning Elgin to win the Never Openweight Championship over Goto.
He just comes out and he's like a boss rude motherfucker, just smacking the shit out of people, knocking the fuck out. Yeah, I want this now.
Yeah.
Then we got the IWGP Tag Team Heavyweight Tag Team Championship match. Sonata and Evil defending against the Young Bucks.
Okay.
This should be pretty good, man. I mean, we've been waiting for the Young Bucks to move up to the heavyweight division.
Yes, sir.
This is their first chance.
Had to bulk up first, man.
This is their first chance at the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Championships. It'd be really interesting. Usually when somebody comes from junior to heavy, they don't give them the win right away. They make them work for it. They make them, have to build up momentum here. But the Young Bucks, man.
It's the Young Bucks.
It's the Young Bucks, so it could go either way. But I'm going to pick Sonata and Evil to retain. They're going to make the Young Bucks work for it a little bit here. What do you guys think?
I'm going Young Bucks, man. I want them to get them right away, just to flaunt them in everybody's face. Just, did it first try, bitches.
Take them tag team championships into All In.
I'm going to stay LIJ.
Yeah, that's how I'm feeling on it here, too. All right,
How dare you?
Then we have, I did not see this coming. Rey Mysterio's match is going to be a six-man tag. Yeah. He's going to team up with Jushin Thunder Liger and Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Marty Scurll, Hangman Page, and Cody. Okay. So that's really interesting.
It's going to be fun.
So, I mean, you've got the little bit of history with Marty Scurll ripping off Mysterio's mask at the Long Beach show earlier this year. Mysterio was supposed to have the quote-unquote dream match with Jushin Thunder Liger.
Hey, you got history between Cody and Mysterio in the mask, too.
Right. You got some of that. Of course, some potential here between Tanahashi and Hangman Page, Tanahashi and Cody, mixing it up here as well. So there's some interesting stuff here for sure. Then for the Junior Heavyweight Championship, of course, Will Ospreay versus Hiromu Takahashi. Predictions here.
Man,
it's tough.
Ospreay is on a hell of a run. Really enjoying Ospreay's run. I mean, this is the push that everybody has been hoping that they would give to Ospreay since he first came to New Japan a couple of years ago. I don't really want to see it end, but Ospreay,
a third loss to Ospreay.
Right. I mean. But that's a good story, too, I mean, Hiromu's hot coming off of Best of Super Juniors. The crowds are really hot for him. I definitely think Ospreay is going to play the role of heel in this match for sure.
Yeah.
He's really great at him and Okada, based on who they're facing, are really great at switching to whatever, role they play during the match. So
it's a chaos thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think that's going to come into play here.
Chaos is coming. No, we're here in Japan.
But yeah, I'm loving the Ospreay push. Had great matches throughout Best of Super Juniors. My heart wants Ospreay to retain here, but I wouldn't be surprised if they go with Takahashi though. But I'm going to pick Ospreay. What do you guys pick here?
It's really tough. I like you said, Ospreay's been on the run. You go, Taco.
I honestly was not expecting Hiromu to go to the finals, let alone win the whole thing. So, that's just surprising in itself. So I'm really fucking pulling for Hiromu at this point. Like, I'm with you. I want Ospreay to have this long run. I want him to go on. I want to see him go against Mysterio. But now that I'm thinking about it, it's kind of like, ooh, I want Hiromu Mysterio now.
Yeah.
Lucha Legend against the guy that trained in Mexico, or that was his excursion was in Mexico. Like, that kind of intrigues me a little bit more. As lovely as Ospreay and Mysterio sounds, I kind of want to see that a little bit more.
Ooh, that's a tough call because I really want to see Ospreay and Mysterio, and there's the matches coming out of Best of Super Juniors, the rematches that I want to see. I want to see Taiji Ishimori again for the championship, and I need to see Will Ospreay dominate the fuck out of Bushi because Bushi should not have won that fucking match.
But that's the thing with Ospreay and Mysterio though, is you don't need a championship on the line.
That's what I was literally going to say. Like, even if he loses that title right now, there's no reason you can't do Rey Mysterio Ospreay at the next big event.
Hiromu Mysterio? Yeah, that's fucking cool. People are going to go nuts on the internet. Throw some fucking gold on the line for that. Ooh.
Oh, man, Dominion's going to be really good. Two more matches. Here. Tetsuya Naito, leader of Los Ingobernables de Japón, takes on the 9-time Intercontinental Champion Chris Jericho for the IWGP.
I think it's
Intercontinental Championship.
Fuckface against Chris Jericho.
If you're a fan of Chris Jericho, that is what this is here. This should be very interesting. Naito isn't even coming out with the belt lately. Does he even bring
He hasn't come out once with it.
Right. Does he bring it to the championship match? That's a curiosity. What is this match going to look like? Again, this one is not a no DQ match like the one versus Kenny Omega back in January. Speaking of, I like Jericho fucking talking some shit about Naito. Yeah, you were in the main event, but it was a double main event, and I know that bothers you because you weren't. It wasn't the true main event. We were the main event. Me and Omega. So I love Chris Jericho taking those digs at Naito in that little promo too. I think Naito retains here. I don't think Jericho's going to win the IWGP Intercontinental, even though that would be really fucking
that would be amazing,
interesting. And then Naito being like, nobody wants that championship anyway. Nobody's missed it since I haven't been coming out with it.
And that's when Suzuki-gun or Minoru Suzuki just arrives in the background. I want my belt back.
Yeah, that's certainly a big possibility there too. But I almost want to see something new for that too. You know, I don't think I need, because that Suzuki Naito match was not very good. The match where Naito won
I'm saying Jericho and Suzuki.
Oh God, yeah, that would be something else.
That's what I'm saying. That's the only way that Jericho should have the Intercontinental Championship is Naito going, fuck him.
Well, I'm gonna pick Naito to win here. What do you?
Naito.
I'm the same. I'm on Naito's side on this one, 100%. He's been fucking great.
It's gonna be fucking great, man. Then the main event: 2 out of 3 falls, no time limit. Kazuchika Okada versus Kenny Omega. This is their 4th match.
Wait, that's this Saturday too?
That is this Saturday.
Yeah, dude.
Ooh. No.
Ooh. Yeah.
That's a high pitched one there.
Yeah. So they have the match at the Tokyo Dome last year.
I just filled the cup, you guys.
Okada wins. They go to an hour time limit draw. Last year at Dominion at this very show, Kenny Omega beats Okada in the G1 last year in less than a half hour because there's half-hour time limits there. So this is the rubber match. They each have a win. They each have a win, and they have the draw from last year. Like, this is going to be
and the biggest difference is Kota Ibushi's in Kenny Omega's corner this time.
Right, but there was stuff that happened on Being the Elite here this week.
Dun, dun, dun.
Kenny Omega was watching an old Okada and Kenny Omega match, and he saw the Young Bucks out there at ringside. He reminisced about all the times that him and the Young Bucks were together, and then he opened the box that the Young Bucks sent to them, but they didn't show what was in the box.
What's in the box?
What's in the box?
What's in the box?
and then the Young Bucks were saying, "Look, this is our first chance at the IWGP Heavyweight title." This was when they're cutting their vlog or whatever in their car. You know, it's a big match for us. If Kenny wants us in his corner, we'll be there. We'll be there for Kenny if he wants us. But right now, as far as we know, we haven't heard anything from Kenny. But we'll be in the back supporting him if that's what he wants. So we don't know who's going to be at ringside. Everybody's assuming it's Ibushi, but this thing is going to need some. Remember last year it was Cody coming out and it was basically the start of the Cody Omega feud because Cody threatened to throw in the towel here. So there's that stuff. There's what I talked about, a possibility of if Ibushi is at ringside and Omega is just so beat up, and what if Ibushi has this sympathy so bad for Omega that he legitimately throws in the towel out of sympathy, and what's the storyline there going forward?
Cost him the championship.
And then, of course, there's all the other Bullet Club stuff into play here too. What's Cody going to do? What's Hangman Page going to do? What's the rest of Bullet Club going to do? Is there going to be any kind of roles in this match as far as that regards too? There's so many questions.
Yes.
I have no idea what's going to happen here.
Bum, bum, bum.
Everybody's expecting this thing to go well.
We need dramatic music.
Everybody's expecting this thing to go well over an hour. Who knows? They might not.
It goes 15 minutes.
Oh, man.
What if it did? What if it did? What if they go a half hour? If it's just this frantic paced thing. We can Russo fantasy book this thing all we want.
My botch.
And it's probably not going to be that kind of thing. Of course, it's New Japan, but all I know is that it's probably going to be amazing.
I hope it's just one big ground grapple match.
I doubt it. I highly doubt it. But who do you pick here? I mean, if you're the WWE fan in me says, well, Kazuchika Okada just broke just broke all the records, so now it's time to lose, because that's what they do. As soon as somebody breaks the record, like the day after the guy breaks the record.
Did he break the Tanahashi record then?
He broke the Tanahashi record by defeating Tanahashi.
Yeah.
So so he beat the title defense record. He's held the title for the longest time in history. So is it time for the title to go? Man, I just don't know. Is Kenny Omega going to go into All In as the fucking IWGP Heavyweight Champion?
Who's next? Well, he's going to be at All In too.
Right,
yeah,
they're both going to be. They can have the fucking match 5 at All In. I doubt they'll do that, but they could do it. I mean, who knows?
What's Kenny Omega's taking that title.
What's next for Okada if he wins? Who's next?
Whoever wins the G1. But that would be at the Tokyo Dome. So, I mean, but the next title defense probably wouldn't be until fucking...
He cycled through them all, though. We have to bring in more talent. We're going to have to get some more guys up there, like different matches at this point. Like, how many times can you do... I mean, yeah, you got Naito's big redemption story. There's that. I mean, we're only fucking, 6-7 months away from... Wrestle Kingdom at this point.
I mean, if Kenny wins and Naito wins the G1 again, and then it's Omega Naito at the Tokyo Dome, then you still have the story of Naito needing that revenge or needing that Tokyo Dome victory over Okada. So then you can come back to that at Wrestle Kingdom 14 or 15. There's so many different ways they could go. But you're right. Yeah, who does Okada have to defend against now that he's basically defended against
Omega?
Everybody?
He still has Cody to wrap up, so we can go up after that. That's, I guess, the biggest one is wrapping. How long are they going to take this Bullet Club shit for? Is it going to wrap up at All In, or is it going to fucking continue on after that?
Well, and I mean, obviously, if Kenny wins the title, he has to just beat the shit out of Cody at some point and get that win back from Supercard of Honor where he lost
exactly
in the schmaz with the Young Bucks or whatever. So
there's still loose ends out there with Cody Omega with just Omega in general. Okada, it's just like he's at a roadblock to me. So I kind of want that championship on Omega, but to me, someone taking that championship off Okada needs to be like a Naito to wrap up that story, or
but again, it's that long con.
That long con, exactly, or that like that article that was released when Sonata was going up against Okada, like that big surprise win. Make him. We need this win's going to make them a star. Essentially,
man, you're sitting over there convincing me though that Omega could win this thing. And then, Okada maybe loses a couple of matches in the G. Okada could go on to win the G1. I like Naito winning the G1 and going on again. And then Omega defending.
Could you imagine Okada against Naito in the G1 to move on?
But, oh my God.
It could happen.
But again,
it could happen.
Even if Okada retains here and goes through the G1, if he has a couple of losses in the G1, as he usually does, he's got some defenses then for the rest of the year. There's usually at least 2 more over the course of the rest of the year, and then it's who wins the G1? Is it Omega? Is it Naito again? But I almost like the idea of Omega winning and doing Omega Naito at the Tokyo Dome. It's something completely different. We haven't seen it before. It's the biggest stakes of all.
If Omega doesn't win, this has to be done. It's over.
And right, yeah, that's it.
I mean, I love it, but I mean, they always put on a great show, but it's.
But then
even putting them in this match was very, kind of far-fetched, in a sense where it's just like, hey, I want this. It's like, well, you're the champ. You're going to get that. It's like, oh, fuck, I've got this shit going on, but let me get myself prepared for you now. Shit.
Well, I mean, it made sense to me because of the draw last year and the loss in the G1. He's like, I'm the champion. I have to tie up all of these loose ends.
But it was just, but that's what I'm saying, tying up loose ends where Omega was even like, oh, fuck, yeah, I wasn't even thinking about you at the moment, but, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah. Oh, man, but I like the idea of Okada just retaining, and then it's, okay, well, who wins the G1 then? Because it's like, is it Omega? Is it Naito again? Because they certainly could go back to Naito and Okada again, and then...
What if Sabre just fucking steamrolls through people?
You could go to
He's
Sabre.
done it before.
But, I mean, if you think about it, too... if you go back to Naito and Okada at the Dome, you've got all this shit going on with Kenny and Cody and Kota Ibushi, the Bullet Club drama. So you could, wrap that story up at the Dome as well too. So yeah, I don't know. I can't pick it. I can't pick. I can't. I want both guys to win. I love all of these stories.
Kenny Omega's going to win.
All right. What's your pick?
God damn. I'm going to stick with Okada because to me, Naito is the guy to take that championship off him just because of their fucking story and their history.
I want Kenny to win because I just think it'd be so fucking cool.
Oh, it'd be so amazing.
But I also want Okada to retain here, and I want both. I'm picking Okada, but it's gonna be so good. It's gonna be
amazing. 2 out of 3 falls. That's just.
And that's what I'm saying. It's like you can't do an Omega and Okada after this point unless Omega wins.
You're saying we can't get an Okada versus Omega Hell in a Cell?
I mean, you can, but I mean that's the thing is, once Okada loses, then we got to tell the Okada redemption story, right?
Exactly. So, but at this point, Omega loses. Shit. He's a loose end. That's tied up. I mean, yeah, fucking he might win the G1 and start that all over again. But
what about the biggest Russo swerve that we didn't even talk about is Kenny turning and going full on heel, winning with bullshit and shenanigans and skullduggery, and being best buddies with Cody Rhodes all of a sudden. But I mean, you talk about some Russo shit.
My butt.
That I just don't see happening.
That is definitely some Russo.
And then it's Chase Owens and Kota Ibushi he was so innocent before. What the happened? This Cody guy.
So other stuff from Being the Elite, since we're kind of on this mid topic here. At one point, Matt shows Cody the first draft for the All In show, and Cody looks very intrigued. So again, the speculation, Okada, Omega, all of that, of course, is out there. Brandy is supposed to tag team with Flip Gordon in a mixed tag match, or maybe it's an intergender match at an indie show coming up very soon. But she gets a call from her doctor that she can't do it. And it's big implications because if Flip and Brandy Rhodes get the win, Flip is all in. But she is not cleared, so she has to refer to the backup plan. So we don't know what the backup plan is there for Flip. Then Marty and Flip take Japan. Of course, those two on tour with the Best of the Super Juniors. Marty is afraid of heights, but he pretends he's not, and Flip takes him on a ride where they have to go way up in the air, a carnival ride, basically. Then we were wrong when we thought the footage last week, the security camera footage, showed Hangman Page coming out of Joey Ryan's hotel. I got confused because of the aviator sunglasses. I thought it looked like Hangman Page, but it was in fact Stephen Amell. And so somebody alerts the Japanese law enforcement that it was Stephen Amell coming out of the hotel room. And so Stephen Amell gets arrested. There's the Young Bucks and Hangman Page and everybody are sitting around watching the NBA game, and breaking news comes on the TV that that Stephen Amell had been, it was breaking news because they were covering a Billy Idol concert at Madison Square Garden, and
sign me up.
And they're going to interview SoCal Uncensored for the Billy Idol concert. But then the breaking news happens during the breaking news segment that Stephen Amell was arrested for being in Japan for this Joey Ryan famous dick wrestler thing, and they cut to Joey Ryan's hot wife crying about Stephen Amell and Joey Ryan not being around or being murdered. That is, so that was a development here. Hangman Page being exonerated to a certain extent here, but he's still.
I knew it couldn't have been him.
But he's still hearing the voices in his head. So,
man, this sounds like some Riverdale shit.
Yeah. So, and then there was the stuff with the Young Bucks and being behind Omega, and excited for their match, and what we talked about there with the Omega reminiscing about the good old days with the Young Bucks.
Just the good old days.
So, after this action-packed show where we talked about the excitement of Dominion and the best of the Super Juniors, we got to wrap up with some Ring of Honor TV talk.
Yeah.
And actually, you know what? It is a not as exciting way to end the show this week with all this cool stuff going on, but it was actually a pretty good show this week.
Just think of it like the cool down of the show.
Yeah. We're just calming things down here at the end of the show. Big main event this week was Austin Aries challenging Silas Young for the Ring of Honor Television Championship. Taco and I, again, we were live in Chicago for these 4 shows that started last week and continued as well this week. It looked like Austin Aries was going to get the win, but there was skullduggery involved.
Some bullshit.
BCB?
No, well, Silas Young goes for misery, knocks the referee down, and so...
That's why his finishing move sucks. That's like the 3rd time this year I've seen that.
So that's when BCB comes out, but Kenny King takes out the Beer City Bruiser. Kenny King then jumps in the ring and fucking takes out Silas Young with a chair, some heel-ass shit, or whatever. So for me, it put the fucking sympathy on Silas Young.
Right.
This is bullshit. So Aries gets the win with the what did he get with the last chancery or whatever? Didn't really matter because here comes Todd Sinclair to do the right thing. The crowd hated it. He turned the thing around because he saw the chair shot in the back. He called a disqualification. It was what it was. But
They didn't even restart the match?
No, but Cabana was even like, he really does this. What the hell?
No, and so here's the thing. In the building, everybody's booing because everybody's excited for the title change. Austin Aries, the big star, he won the championship.
It was a good fucking match, too.
And it was a really good match. And then watching at home this week, I'm like, yes, right call. They made the right decision. I'm tired of these bullshit finishes and the skullduggery. And finally, a referee is actually watching the match in the back, comes out and makes the right call. The champion is still the champion, and I loved it sitting at home on my couch.
Yeah.
So
that's the magic of editing.
I know. I want it to make sense. I want it to work. So that was the case here. So Silas Young retains after the skullduggery, of course. There, other stuff.
Expect another match out of these two.
Oh yeah,
down the road for sure. Which, goddamn, I'm excited for because that match was awesome.
Yeah, we need a pay-per-view one,
and it was awesome rewatching it too on this week's Ring of Honor.
Yeah, I'm hoping they bring this back for Best in the World for the TV title.
Yeah.
That'd be a really great match. Austin Aries all over Impact TV, all over Ring of. He has the Impact Grand Championship all over Ring of Honor TV. Like after the match. When Austin Aries, he's upset. He kicks Todd Sinclair in the nuts, and Kenny King is in there trying to calm him down. He hands him all of his belts back. He even picks up the Impact Championship, but he just barely is touching.
It's like a dirty diaper.
Yeah, he's like, I don't want that. Here, you take this. And so hands him the championship.
A lot of people are actually salty about that online.
That the Impact Grand Championship was all over Ring of Honor TV?
Kenny King was treating, like that company's championship like that when, Austin Aries is going to them, kind of representing them a little bit.
Whatever. It was
exactly.
what it was.
I was like, yeah.
I thought it was just kind of funny.
King also doesn't have great history with Impact either, so.
Right, exactly. And then Austin Aries upset at Kenny King because it was his fault because of the damn disqualification, so he kicks him in the nuts as well and kind of redeems himself a little bit there.
And oddly, spoiler alert for Impact, that's how he just won the championship back, too.
Yep. Lots of interesting stories there with the Kenny King thing. Obviously, Silas Young, Austin Aries. What's Beer City Bruiser's role in this? Of course, he's just out there to help his buddy Silas Young. So, but interesting stuff. Well, opened the show with Cody cutting his promo, Marty Scurll coming out. They're talking about their big three-way match. Scurll goes to shake Cody's hand. Cody's reluctant, but then does it anyway. Then he teases the finger breaker, but then doesn't do it. So I like this little bit of tension going on between Cody and Marty Scurll. Makes this match a lot more interesting. Dalton Castle just kind of feels like a guy at this point who has the championship, which is not a good way to have your championship.
These last couple of weeks have been rough. Yeah. We got injured too, but that didn't help. But I'm glad it wasn't a serious injury. He was able to go do that stuff over in the UK, but it seemed like he wasn't really doing much either.
Karen Q versus Tennille Dashwood. Pretty good match here between these two. Tennille Dashwood getting the win with the roll-up after a intense Boston Crab from Karen Q. But yeah, decent TV match from these two from the Women of Honor division.
I gotta say, fucking sounds like Women of Honor took another hit. Apparently, Deonna Purrazzo signed with NXT.
Yeah,
and
I saw
developmental stuff, which I've said before is like her. She's one of those people that she's gonna benefit way more in that performance center. She's gonna shine. But yeah, that's a fucking hard hit for Ring of Honor.
Yeah,
they need to get focus on their people here and get bring in the Tennille Dashwoods and the hard hitting women, the women with experience like Kelly Klein's another one of those people. You frown on her and she's nothing remarkable by any means. To be like, oh my god, did you watch her match? But there's something there with her, and I know she's someone that takes it really serious, and she needs like that performance center vibe. She needs to be surrounded with these long-term vets.
Yeah, it's interesting too because I always hear a lot of big-time indie names out there on the scene. I'm curious why Ring of Honor doesn't try to bring in more talent like an Austin Aries where they're not signed full-time, but they'll get some matches out of like a Tessa Blanchard or Taya Valkyrie.
Seeing all these because
Jordan Grace is another name I hear all the time.
Bringing up Impact again, I just fucking watched their shit, and there's two women matches on there, and they weren't anything really remarkable or anything, but their women matches always just felt normal, part of the show. Women matches where we look at the WWE aspect and it's the women's revolution and look at us, and then you look at Ring of Honor and it's like, God, you can do so much great shit with what you got here. You just got a championship for them, and I don't want the whole women's revolution thing of. No, I just want them to put on badass matches.
Yeah, I need.
They gotta
good
go
matches.
out there. They gotta snatch up some of the Sue Young, the Blanchards out there, the Ellerings. They gotta get some of these women more dominant on their show.
But yeah, Ring of Honor is stuck in this mentality or whatever that they have to have signed stars, and that's just not working these days. Impact, that's one thing that Impact is doing really well now.
360'd out of nowhere.
They don't have the contracts anymore. They just bring people in that are basically free agents. They're just be a super indie. Be what PWG is.
Who's hot right now? Who you can team up with. That's what makes more sense.
But again, I don't know all the details. If like Tessa Blanchard has an exclusive deal with maybe one of the other women's promotions or something.
Yeah.
But I know she's on like Wrestle Circus and does all the big indies.
I think she did sign an Impact contract or something.
Oh, is she? Is she on Impact?
God, I wish I would have took notes, but I feel like the word was WWE was not unhappy with her, just didn't have really interest with her, and she got offended and just said, "Fuck it, I'll sign with Impact then."
Interesting.
Which is good. They're hot right now. It's the market, and she has such a great supervillain vibe about her, and that's kind of what we need.
And she has good matches
on Ring of
too.
Honor. Yeah, she just that Impact. She had her match with Madison Rayne. Nothing to run, like I said, brag about or go watch or anything. But yeah,
well, Madison Rayne was just on Ring of Honor TV too.
Exactly. So it's just come on, Ring of Honor, let's get it going a little bit. And, don't lose these ladies here like that.
Yeah,
but good for her though too. At the same time,
and I'd even say for Ring of Honor, both men and women, be more open to just bringing people in that are stars that can get eyes on your product. Bring in those hot names that people are talking about, even if it's just for a one or two shows. I think it would definitely help. Being more of a super indie and being like, because now people think of Ring of Honor, and of course it's Cody and the Young Bucks and the Bullet Club stuff. Well, it's like, well, when's New Japan coming with Ring of Honor? Nobody's really thinking about, oh wow, I need to go see Dalton Castle and Jay Lethal. Like those are Ring of Honor Honor's 2 top stars right now. I mean, outside of the Bullet Club guys and outside of when they bring in New Japan
They're not
guys.
the ones selling out shows.
So if they can bring in guys like Austin Aries, like some bigger indie names, Brian Cage, who's all over Impact these days, I think he'd be a good guy to bring in too. So, guy on the indie scene. How about John Morrison, who's going over to all over Impact, Lucha Underground, of course, but he's going to be on fucking Survivor. So, but who knows? I don't know if he's still. He's probably not locked into his Lucha Underground deal anymore, and I don't know if he was. I can't remember if he was on this newest series or not. So, I guess we'll have to wait and see on that. So,
next week.
Anyway, Lucha Underground starting up real soon too. Yep. So. We'll look for that. Punishment Martinez and Hangman Page had a nice video package for their feud. They're going to face off at Best in the World.
Good match there, fun match.
As well. So that was pretty much Ring of Honor TV this week. Just two
Young Bucks going to be one-upping each other there. I like that.
Yeah. Young Bucks and Briscoes.
I can't say Young Bucks in wrestling anymore.
Yep. It's fucking insane.
So, Best in the World shaping up to be a pretty good show. So, all right, before we get out of here, let's do that Kojima tweet.
Now it's time for the Satoshi Kojima Tweet of the Week.
Make sure you follow Kojima at cozy_lariat on Twitter, or just tune in every week for me reading the best of his tweets. He had 2 really good ones in a row. One was about Hanma, but I chose this one, which was more about bread. Good morning, bread. Get up, bread. Wash my face and bread. Brush my teeth and bread. Wearing clothes, bread. Baby.
I believe you chose right.
Baby.
I think I did too. Follow him at cozy_lariat. Follow me at Tommy Stryker, spell Stryker with a Y. Follow this show at Strong Honor. Make sure you check out our other show, The Best Pro Wrestling Podcast, where we talk about all of the best pro wrestling in the world. Sounds like we might have some Impact angles this week, possibly, with Taco tuning into some Impact. So check that out over there, bestprowrestlingpodcast.com for both this and Strong Honor. And go to sltdwrestling.com. You can find this podcast, Best Pro Wrestling Podcast, fun fan articles, a fantasy league, and so much more. sltdwrestling.com. Taco, where can people find you?
Follow me on Twitter at HGREV Taco.
And follow me, Joe, at JoeBBWP. That's at Joe, Best Pro Wrestling Podcast.
That's going to do it for Strong Honor. Thanks. Spread the word, social media, everywhere else. And see you. Bye.
Adios.
Hasta luego.